CURES is sponsored by Wheeler Health's Better Choice program. More at wheelerhealth.org.
Helping you lead a healthier life. This is CURES.
Welcome to the CURES Show, where we explore the cutting edge of wellness for our mind, body, and spirit. I'm Kara Sundlin. I'm so excited for today's show because I'm talking to a mom who really does it all, and you probably know who she is. Tracy Wolfson is the sideline reporter for CBS Sports, traveling the nation every weekend for the biggest NFL games. You always see her. She's the tiny one on the field. She's also a mom of 3. We are the same height, so I can say that. And happily married. She's fit. She's fun. She's sane. She admits she's not always balanced, but Tracy's also a college classmate of mine from the University of Michigan. Go Blue. I swear Go Blue. Yes, we actually planned the show before we beat Ohio State in the crazy game last week. But I'm so happy to be here with you to talk about really how you manage it all, because I think we can all learn from each other. So thank you for being here.
Oh, I'm so excited to be on. Thank you so much, Kara. It's been forever.
It's been forever. I mean, I feel like we just, like so many people, you just keep up via social media, which congratulations. I saw you won an Emmy recently.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I joked that I was the Susan Lucci of sports reporters. I had been nominated 7 times and finally won. And, you know, it's funny. It's all a process and a political process, but it's really just such an honor to be nominated, surely. And I always said I just wanted to win so I can get up there and thank everyone that got me to where I am today. And so it was really a blessing to have that opportunity to do that. And so it was great. I have the Emmy behind me, and it's something I will certainly remember for a long time.
Yeah. You know, I want to, before we get into what you're doing to balance it all, I think that's so important. So I just want to thank everyone, because gratitude is obviously important for keeping us all grounded and sane. But really, also, I remember you back in the day, and I always tell people, Tracy was like the real thing. She was the one organizing sports. She loved sports. She knew sports. She was in it to win it. Like, even in college, this wasn't something you went and like, let me study some flashcards. Like, you really were passionate about everything you do. And now there's your whole family we're seeing. You're still bleeding maize and blue back at University of Michigan. I mean, I remember you kind of organizing football games for us.
Yes, I mean, I remember that too. I actually found my sorority flag football jersey the other day when I was going through some boxes. It brought back so many memories. And I also played intramural basketball. And I remember that one of the backup point guards on our on the Michigan basketball team was our coach, Travis Conlon, which is so fun. But I've always been interested in sports. I was a tomboy growing up, so I knew I wanted to get into this field. I just didn't know how to get actually in it, especially with not as many women involved in the industry when I was growing up. So, but I said to myself, if I just stuck with sports, whether I was in front of the camera or behind the camera, I would be doing something I love. And ultimately, if you're doing something you love, you feel like you're never working a day in your life.
Absolutely. That is the best calling, right? Do what you love. Everything else will take care of itself. I know it hasn't always been easy. I'm sure it's not all sunshine and rainbows. We've kind of kept in touch with careers. You got to have to make sacrifices. You know, you're pretty much gone every weekend, at least in the fall. So how do you manage that? Because I know you're so passionate about your 3 kids. Tell us the ages. And, having a family and being a mom was really important to you also.
Extremely important. And I still say to this day, I'm a mom first. And I always said, as they were growing up, if it didn't work for our family, then I was out. Fortunately, it did. I have an extremely supportive husband who I made sure, and I told him, this is what I want to do. We're not getting married until I get on the air, because I wanted him to understand, as you know, full well what this business is like, having to maybe pick up and move across the country. I wanted him to understand, because this was certainly a passion of mine. But my boys are 13, 15, and 18. And fortunately, I have a freshman at Michigan as well. So it's been really fun going from being an alumni to now being a Michigan mom. Always enjoy it. And so, yeah, it's a real balance, no doubt. I mean, I travel basically from the first week of September once NFL starts on Thursday or Friday, and I come back on Sunday or Monday, depending on where I'm flying to. And then you do it every single week. I get a few weeks off if I'm not doing Super Bowl in February. And then I start again for March Madness and the Final Four, and then right into the Masters. And then you tend to try and catch up on things you weren't able to do. So maybe speaking engagements and charity work and some marketing opportunities. And then next thing you know, it's already June. And fortunately, I do get the summer off,
You do,
a
the
few
whole summer.
months to regroup.
You do. So you're off the whole summer.
I'm off the whole summer. I do teach up at a camp in the Berkshires. I go up a few times. And you keep yourself busy. I host a show, an all-female sports show called We Need to Talk. That's once a month, so I can be involved in that. But for the most part, when you talk about taking care of yourself, it's a really important time for me to just chill, regroup, reconnect with friends and family, have my own time, and then get ready. And I will tell you by, mid-August, I'm like raring to go. I'm ready, like
You're
excited
ready.
for the next season.
So let's talk about just your day. Like, how do you get up and make your daily grind, I say, a sacred grind? You're all over the place, but like, how do you make it meaningful, and how are you staying well? Like, let's start with fitness. Is there something you do every day to keep your physical health intact?
Yeah, fitness is so important to me. I've always been extremely active and I've gone through several different routines. Right now, I'm on the Pilates kick. I've always really enjoyed Pilates. I just didn't know if I could find the right time to do it every day. But I've been doing it about 3 to 4 times a week. And in between, I'll either run or walk with friends on the opposite days. But I find the strength really gets me going in the morning. It makes my body feel so strong and alive. And that's really important to get the day going, because the rest of my day is really filled with, I drop the kids off, I go directly to work out, because if I don't work out after I drop them off, I am not motivating after that, because I get back home, I get in my groove, I start my work. And then basically, next thing I know, it's 3 o'clock and I'm picking up my kids. And whenever my kids are home, I just want to be mom. I want to be present for them. So I don't want to take away that time that we have together. So it's really important for me to get my workout out of the way. The challenge, though, is certainly on the road when you're trying to juggle meetings, and also sleep to me is really important. So when I have the opportunity to sleep on the road, I will sleep in. Find a time to get to a gym. And then I walk a lot during a game. I am on my feet for about 7 hours.
Wow.
From the morning until the evening. And so for me, that's a workout in itself.
Absolutely, absolutely. So it sounds like, well, you've figured it out. And I think this is what all moms have to do, is like, so at least during the week, you're actually able to pick up and drop off, and you're kind of able to work from home when you're not traveling?
Yes, it is really great in terms of, we don't go into an office specifically. I do everything from home unless I'm doing my show that I mentioned earlier. But it is, it's important because we're doing tons of research. All I need is really a computer, a phone, calling, talking to players and coaches. We go on Zoom meetings as well. And then, a lot of our work is really on site as soon as we take off. So it's a good balance. I get my work done when my kids are at school. And then as soon as they're home, I'm able to kind of be, all hands on, take them to their sports, drive them to wherever they need to go, make them dinner if I can. And then, it doesn't mean there's a lot of times you have, events you have to attend or meetings you have to get on. But for the most part, that's kind of my daily grind, so to say.
Yeah.
And then when they're basically doing their work, I go back to do my work. I have to specifically watch some games to prepare for the upcoming games as well. And that's kind of my routine.
Yeah. So doing what you love, gratitude, and figuring out the chunks of time, obviously all really important. Do you ever, what do you do when you're feeling like, and I know we all have these moments, so what do you feel when you're feeling like really overwhelmed and things aren't working? How do you maybe take a step back? Are you good at taking a step back? Do you know when you need to do that?
I know when things are becoming a lot and I'm stressed and overwhelmed, I'm not great at taking a step back. And I go, 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 go. I take on way too much. Everyone's like, I don't know how you do it. It's just who I am. We know where, certain people are just wired that way. I sometimes do need to take a step back and remind myself to do that. For example, I had booked this trip, actually leaving tomorrow to go play some golf with my friends for 2 days in Miami because I have a game in Miami. Well, the Miami game got switched to Pittsburgh. So the whole plans go up in the air. But I said to myself, you know what? I need to still do this for me. I'm going to go. I'm going to go for 2 days. I'm going to spend some time with friends. I'm going to golf. I'm going to, take a deep breath. By the way, I have to be on like 4 hours of Zooms during one of those days, but that's okay because I got to find time to do some things for myself.
Yeah.
And I have to remind myself to do that. Otherwise, I never will. So I will go down for 2 days and then fly up to Pittsburgh on Saturday morning and get ready for the game on Sunday. So I think there's that balance. And I said it to a friend today, actually a Michigan friend as well. I said, sometimes we just have to remember it's okay to take time for yourself. And I
Yes.
think it's really hard, especially as a mom or a working mom, when you're juggling, you feel mommy guilt, you don't want to leave them, you feel like you have to be present here. And fortunately, my kids are at the ages where I can take advantage of some of that and do some things for myself. And I do find that's extremely healthy.
Yeah, and one of the things I was reading about, you said, you do balance like trying to put that self-care on the menu. And I know I want to reiterate, you said it's not selfish. We do that on CURES all the time. Neuroscientists are on here. When we prioritize ourselves, we're actually more productive. So, but you're doing it and you're still feeling a little guilty, which I guess we all do. But the importance is we're supposed to prioritize the self-care.
That is very true. One of the other things I enjoy doing is golfing. And so I find myself at least in the summer months, it's easy. And my kids are really traveling or they're at camp and at the camp I work up at. So they're busy in their own right. So I spend some time, that's time for myself and my husband to reconnect and for me to be, reconnect with friends and maybe travel for personal reasons, not necessarily for work purposes. I find a lot of joy in that. And then I golf. And so into the fall a little bit, I find take one day. I always say I'm going to take one day and just try and get out on the course. Being out in nature, just reconnecting. To me, 4 hours, I know it sounds like a long time of being away. And it took me a long time to be like, can I really be out for 4 hours? Yes, because I've learned to manage my time well enough. And that 4 hours of me time and just being outside really helps.
Yeah, yeah. Just completely unrelated to your wellness question, but a lot of women are thinking, gosh, my husband's golfing all the time. I wish I would have learned, or I need to take it up. Did you take it up as a child or as an adult? I know you've always done sports.
No, I actually was a tennis player and I continued to play them at Michigan. It was impossible to play. And then once I moved out into the suburbs, actually while I was in college, in Manhattan, when I was just with my husband and we didn't have kids, I actually took it up then because I wasn't working during the week. And I found myself kind of like, what am I doing? I don't have kids. My husband's working. And so I took it up then. I probably played for about 6 years until I started having kids. I put it on the back burner for a while and then I took it up again. It's really important, I think. I love it. It's competitive. You're competitive with yourself, which is what I love. But I also think it's really important for my business. I mean, I get invited to a lot of golf outings, a lot of kind of celebrity pro outings that I can be a part of that raise money for charity, and then even for work and around my bosses as well. So I also work with a crew on football who basically produce all of the golf for CBS as well. So there's a lot of golf talk. So I kind of feel like I need to be in the know and also be able to kind of hold my own.
Yeah, yeah. So what's your advice for younger people? And I know you do a shadowship at University of Michigan, but when women are saying, gosh, you're moving into a male-dominated field, and for you more so even than for me, because there's a lot of women doing news and health now, but you're really surrounded by men. Yet I love that you've kept your feminine edge, you're authentic, you're tiny, like you're a lot the way I remember you in your 20s. So you've managed to keep that. But what's your advice?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little overwhelming and challenging at first, no doubt. You feel like, can I keep up? Is someone going to judge me? Do I fit in? I think we're in a much better place than we ever were, though. If you look around at sideline reporters, and even there are more and more announcers in the booth, and certainly in sports in general, whether it's on the sidelines or officials or up in, the higher ups when it comes to management and owning teams, there are more women. So I think that's a good thing. I think we're able to, see others hold a standard and see what we can strive to be. But it is challenging. And I always tell, young women, first off, you really have to know your stuff in this business and in any business, because you don't want to be exposed, and you don't want to be exposed for all the wrong reasons as well. And one of the other pieces of advice is I'm always kind of focused on myself, just like kind of stay in your lane, like just really think about, who you are, and don't let anyone change who you are. I think that's really important, and bringing your personality to light. People say to me all the time, what do you think makes you different than the other reporter? And I say, for me, it's my personality. And I think that's really important as well. Don't feel like you have to hide that because maybe you are a woman in this business. I think we're in a really good place, though. Like I said, I think it's very welcoming. There's a lot more women. There's a lot more women having, kids. There's maternity leave. I was very nervous about having kids while I was on the air, because I was like, oh no, I'm going to be replaced right away. And I find now there's a whole sideline mom cult, which is awesome. And I started a blog a long time ago that I unfortunately didn't have enough time to continue, but it was called Stories of a Sideline Mom. And a lot of it was stories of moms on the sideline and what we go through. And so there is like this really great network now. So I think, young women trying to get into the business have to understand that there are a lot of mentors out there you can reach out to, ask for advice, ask for help. But you shouldn't feel very uncomfortable going into this field now, because I think it is more welcoming than ever.
That is good to hear. All right, now we're going to dish on some of the other stuff. So I'll just say it. You look nearly the same as when we graduated Michigan in 1997. So
that's very nice. Thank you, by the way. I don't feel that way.
No. Really, you've really taken good care of yourself, size-wise, your face, all those things. Besides, are you strict about with what you eat? Are you taking certain supplements? What are you doing to stay youthful that women will want to know?
Okay, that's a good question. I got to be honest. I am not good with things you have to do. So I'm not getting my eyebrows, done, or my eyelashes tinted, because there's maintenance involved. I am very bad with maintenance. I don't find I have the time for that.
Yeah.
I don't enjoy it. I feel like it's wasting time, getting our grays covered.
Yeah.
To me, that is like the most painful thing ever.
I totally agree.
So yes.
I hate going to the hair salon. My daughter's like, you get to go to the hair salon. I'm like,
all of this stuff. And we have to do that because we're on TV. Mm-hmm. So that is my least favorite part about it. The makeup thing is really frustrating too. And I don't get makeup on the sideline. I do it on my own. I am not good with that stuff. I don't enjoy any of that part of it. In terms of keeping myself maybe looking fit, again, we're in front of the camera all the time. So that's always in the back of your mind that's really important. Unfortunately, there's a lot of criticism out there. And I think actually we just saw something this week where Erin Andrews was criticized for having wrinkles on her face. And oh, by the way, it was a guy probably sitting in his underwear on the couch tweeting about it. So, let's put things in perspective here. She actually responded. And I thought that was interesting, because we're always so nervous now in front of the camera, especially in high def, how we look. I do eat. I do watch what I eat, but I love, French fries and pizza and ice cream and all those good things. So I am really about managing it. And I don't deprive myself of stuff that I love to eat, but I think the working out allows me to balance it. And in terms of vitamins and supplements, I'm not great with it. I have to be honest. I keep trying, but I'm not really good on it. Okay. And I do what I can.
Whatever you're doing is working, but at least take your vitamin D. You need to it'll protect your immunity, right? I'll tell you that.
I'm on that.
Okay.
Vitamin D, vitamin B. My doctor said I need both of those. Okay, so I've been taking some of those.
Yes, we can get carried away with the supplements. I'm so excited to continue our conversation with Tracy Wolfson. We're just going to take a quick break to hear from a sponsor. We'll be right back with more about how she is managing it all.
Struggling with gambling? Wheeler Health's Better Choice program offers personalized support and treatment to help you regain control. Visit wheelerhealth.org to learn more and take the first step towards recovery today.
All right, we're back now with Tracy Wolfson, the lead sideline reporter and a mom, a sideline mom for CBS Sports. She's been at this a long time ago. I'm privileged to have known her since we were back in college at University of Michigan. Let's talk about you've also had a successful marriage, and I find that, as someone who's also, I think I read you got married in '02, we got married in '03, so we're about the same. That's a lot when you're busy professionals and how you prioritize your relationship with Dave. So how do you guys make that work?
Yeah, and it is a challenge because I am traveling all the time. We're both basically leading different lives for about, 7 months out of the year. Actually even longer than that. And so it's funny, we always say like we have to reacclimate to each other when I'm done with my basketball season and golf season. And then basically in May, I kind of like reacclimate because he's Mr. Mom when I'm gone, and he's working 5 days a week in the city. He's in finance, and then he on the weekends has to work and be Mr. Mom. And especially when our kids were younger and he had to manage all of that too. And then all of a sudden here I come in and I'm trying to tell him like, wait, we have to do this. And he's like, that's not how we do it around here. So there was a lot of like reacclimating once I got in, back and like back on my normal schedule. And then all of a sudden come September, I'm like, I'm out, see ya. And so it is a challenge, and it's a challenge to find time for each other and for ourselves. And, date night, I think, is really important, and we don't do that enough. We certainly don't, but we try and make it a priority. If it's not alone, maybe we go out with friends or we go out with the kids, but it is important to spend that time together. We're on different schedules at night too. He goes to bed early, I go to bed late. He has to wake up much earlier. I wake up with my kids at around, 7 o'clock. And so I think it's trying to find that time for each other. And maybe it's taking a trip, planning a trip together. Or maybe it's just a weekend that I might have off in between two seasons to just say, let's get away for a few days.
Yeah.
And reconnect.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. My husband does the evening news. I'm here during the day. So we've always, been opposite, ships passing. So you have that commitment. But what about mindfulness, meditation, anything for your mental health, or is sports it for you?
Yeah, I mean, for my mental health, I do not meditate. I've started writing some blogs or some memories, or after I finish, a game and I come back, I got this great journal that someone gave to me and I started taking it down. Maybe it's for a book one day, or maybe it's just to go back and have some memories. So that's something I do. Um, Mainly, I love to, watch sports still. And you would think that because you cover it so much that you don't want, to be focused on that. But for me, that does take my stress away. I enjoy it. Like we said, you saw the picture of me and my family going, to Michigan together, enjoying those family times. That's really my mindfulness, is really just, spending time stress free with my kids or with my family. Maybe it's going on a vacation, or maybe it's taking a spa day for myself, would be great. And I don't do that enough either. I mean, I think it's really important to do that. But I think I do try and prioritize that when I do have the time.
Yeah. So what I think the takeaway for other folks, because it may be different for those who are listening, and number one, if we're watching you, it's not all magic. It's not like there's this staff doing everything for you. You have these things you have to manage like every other woman out there. Not that you don't have a good support system, you do. But there's the idea of doing something you love, and about more than balancing, finding a rhythm. Like, it's maybe not perfect, and you seem okay with that. You just know how to bounce.
Yeah, I think it is finding that right balance and that routine. And it's not always going to be perfect. And there are going to be those highs and those lows, or those stress times. And I think a lot of that comes from, you might have a bad game and take it back with you. And how do you get rid of that? Because you have to move on right away. Or you might be dealing with something with one of your kids, and all of a sudden you have to leave them and you're on the road. And how do you manage that? Certainly with my oldest son, my junior year, and then the stress of senior year and getting into college and making sure everything is, in place. That was really difficult, being away from him and having to manage that. So, yeah, I think it's just finding those times and that real good routine, but also understand that like stress is part of it. How do you relieve it? How do you balance it? And it's a juggling act. It really is. But I think the best thing I feel is that I can do both. I could be a mom
Yeah.
and I can have a kick-ass job that I absolutely love, that I dreamed of having since I was a kid. And I hope that, I can set an example for others who want to have both in their life.
Yeah, and I think when we do that, when we follow our dreams, we show our kids that they too can follow their dreams someday. But that doesn't mean you don't deal with mom guilt or, okay, so and so's mom is there at home, doing the laundry and making cookies every day or whatever. Do your kids ever give you grief, or are they? I know they're obviously very proud of you, but if you're missing like an important day for them, which must happen sometimes, how do you deal with that?
Yeah, I think it happened a lot more when they're younger and they didn't understand what I do and they didn't understand why I was leaving every week. I think the other thing is they have each other, which is really great. They're all three of them are really close, and certainly now one is gone, but the other two are pretty inseparable. So they do have each other. And fortunately, my husband had, they understand the routine. I mean, they were born into it where my husband would be home on the weekend. And so they'll give me a little grief for something I might have missed, but it's almost in jest. And at this point, they completely understand it. And, each of my kids is different and they handle it differently. But now I feel I can take advantage of it and I can bring them alongside on the road. And I took one of my sons with me to a Chiefs game one weekend last year. And I took my other son with me to a Chiefs game, last year. And so I find that time where they can come with me. One of my sons was a ball boy for the Final Four. They get these perks that they can kind of be alongside me. And then they understand, like, it's okay that you missed my championship basketball game or you couldn't be there for my presentation at school. I think they've grown up and they understand that.
Yeah. Okay, so in our final 2 minutes together, what's next? You've checked a lot of boxes. Is there something you'd like to do next that you still want to achieve?
That's a great question. I don't really know where I want to go next. And I get that question a lot. And I think that's okay. I think it's good to live in the moment. That's really where I'm living. And I understand that, when there is going to come a time where maybe I'm not going to want to pack my wheelie bag anymore or, sit in an airport and being delayed or missing, Thanksgiving or, an event that my son is in or parents weekend at Michigan. I mean, there's going to come those times where I just feel like I'm going to be like, okay, I've had it. But right now I'm not there yet. And I know I'll know that. I'll know when I'm at that moment. And right now, I'm not there. I think there's so many things on the horizon for me. I absolutely love giving back. I love shadowing. I love helping others. Love this business. I don't see myself ever leaving this business.
Yeah.
Just maybe moving into it in a different capacity that might allow me to stay home a little more. But for now, I don't feel like that. And I keep waking up excited about my opportunities that lie ahead.
Well, that is a great way to leave it. And the stopwatches. It's about to end for time. This is all we have for CURES. Tracy Wolfson, thank you much for being here. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great day. Be well.
CURES is sponsored by Wheeler Health's Better Choice program. More at wheelerhealth.org.
Okay.